Infinite Opportunities helps you learn more about the wide range of enriching opportunities at Pennsylvania's 14 state system universities. This week, we focus on the community and regional benefits provided by the universities across the state system. But first, we'll hear from Westchester University's president, Greg Weisenstein.
Hello, I'm Frank Brogan, the Chancellor of the Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education. Over 110,000 students are part of 14 strategically located universities of higher education that are not only making a difference in the lives of those students, but also the quality of life for all of us in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, those around the country, and even around the world. You'll hear a little bit more about that in just a moment. We're going to take the opportunity today to introduce you to and give a chance to talk about his love, Westchester University, Dr. Greg Weisenstein. Dr. Weisenstein is the 14th president of Westchester University and serves very proudly in that capacity today. Westchester is a university of over 16,000 students, making it the largest of the 14 state universities in our system. And we are delighted to have you with us today, Dr. Weisenstein, and welcome.
Thank you, Chancellor.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Westchester University?
Absolutely. I'm delighted to have that opportunity. We're located in a very vibrant community of borough of Westchester, about 25 miles west of Philadelphia. Westchester University, as you noted, is the largest state-owned university in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and we anticipate our enrollment this fall to be over 16,500. However, we still focus on the individual success of each and every one of those 16,500 students that we're privileged to serve on our campus. Our graduation rates reflect the emphasis we put on student success. We have one of the highest graduation rates for a comprehensive regional university in the country, and we're very proud of that fact. We're also ranked very high for our value. Consumer Digest just recently ranked Westchester University 21st among all public universities in the nation for its value. And the Kiplinger magazine also ranked us very high, 14th in the country among universities charging $30,000 or less for tuition. Not only do we provide a wide breadth and depth of curriculum with 116 undergraduate programs and about 87 graduate programs, including now professional doctoral programs, but we also are able to provide the student with a very complete experience, higher education experience. We have 260 plus organizations and clubs that students can choose from to get involved when they're on our Westchester campus. Our students, as you noted, volunteer over 800,000 hours of time to their communities. And we provide a number of internship opportunities, both internationally as well as nationally and regionally, so students can get started exploring their careers or simply exploring their obligations as citizens in their communities.
We're so very proud of our state system and everyone in it, and that obviously means the students who are the heart and soul of what we do. We boast the tagline, Infinite Opportunities, 14 universities. You touched a little bit on the issue of research, and most people are generally familiar with the traditional kinds of academic programs that take place on a university campus. But more and more, we have a growing portfolio of research opportunities for our students in our state system, both, interestingly, not only at the undergraduate level, but in the world of graduate education. You do a great deal of this at your university as you build your research portfolio. Can you tell us a little bit about, first, what you're doing in the world of undergraduate research, and then if you can tell us a little of some of the programming that's occurring at the graduate level of research at Westchester University?
Well, very much like our colleague institutions in the system, we try to engage both our undergraduates and our graduate students in our faculty research. And our faculty become very prepared to do research, oftentimes having begun that line of research through their own doctoral programs. But we're doing a considerable amount of research in health sciences. We do research with the Campbell Soup Company, for example, on the nutrition and value of their products. The company came to us, and they have their headquarters in Camden, New Jersey, so they're fairly convenient. And our students can spend time with the company working with their scientists. Our health sciences faculty are doing some phenomenal research in the area of hydration, underhydration, and overhydration, in identifying ways to detect dehydration and to treat it properly. Our folks are working with just about all of the professional sports teams in the Philadelphia area, and many of them nationally. And we have faculty who are working on ways in which we can detect prostate cancer that's uninvasive. And we're very optimistic that we have some breakthroughs in the future there that will save lives. And we have research that we're doing on the teaching learning process. Westchester University produces more teachers than any other university in the Commonwealth. And we have a wonderful platform with tremendous faculty to do research on how our teachers in the public schools and the private schools, as well as at the university level, can be most effective in promoting both the teaching and the learning process.
Well, I'm really very proud at some of the work that you all are doing. Again, both undergraduate and graduate relative to research. Many people don't typically equate the world of undergraduate education to research, but the growing body of knowledge tells us that the skills necessary to engage in research should be provided to undergraduate students that will help them not only if they go directly to the world of work, but if they go on to graduate education. And you all are creating, as I mentioned, quite a portfolio at Westchester. I want to give you a brief opportunity to talk about something else I know you're very proud of at Westchester. You're engaged in not only the sciences and education, as you mentioned, but certainly the arts. Music is a big part of what takes place at Westchester. Tell us a little bit about the pride of Westchester music.
Well, we are the only school of music in the system, and we're also a Steinway, an all Steinway program. We're among about 100 universities nationally who partner with the Steinway Corporation. And we have about 120 Steinway pianos that our students use for practice, for composing, and in a normal routine of their classwork and in teaching. So we produce some exceptional music teachers, but we also produce some exceptional performers. And our theater program is almost always invited to the Kennedy Center, which is very stiff competition to perform their theater performance. We're very proud of the fact that we're recognized for visual as well as performing arts. And we're compared oftentimes to some of the major and very internationally renowned institutes around the country.
Well, I've been exposed to some of your programming at Westchester, and I must tell you, not only the work of the faculty, but the incredible talent of your student body. It speaks for itself. It's something that I would hope more and more people would have the opportunity to enjoy who live around Eastern Pennsylvania and take advantage of some of the great entertainment opportunities that come out of Westchester.
Our goal, Chancellor, is to have over 100,000 visitors on campus taking advantage of our visual and performing arts. And we're getting close to that number. But Westchester is a cultural center for Southeast Pennsylvania, and particularly for Chester County. And we want to share our students and our faculty's talents with our neighbors.
Well, we are rapidly running out of time, but I did want to give you 1 minute to at least touch on something else that's a special part of Westchester. A number of our universities have outreach educational programs in the center city portion of downtown Philadelphia. Tell us a little bit about that in the time we have remaining.
Well, we're very proud to be part of the state system program in Philadelphia. And it's a growing program offering more and more degree options each year. And we partner with several other system universities. We're growing very rapidly. I can speak just specifically about Westchester that our number of enrollees this year will be right around 300 students. And many of those students, all of the institutions that are involved in that Philadelphia Center are providing low cost, high quality, higher education to populations in Philadelphia who might not be able to afford some of the other options. So we're providing access to that quality higher education in Philadelphia that we're quite proud of. And
kudos to Westchester and all the universities that are involved in downtown Center City, Philadelphia. It's just more evidence of the fact that we not only do wonderful work on each of our 14 campuses, but the term infinite opportunities goes beyond those campuses, and Center City is a good example of that. You've done a great job today, Dr. Weisenstein, of giving us a good overview of Westchester University, a school that we're all enormously proud of, and not just in our system, the people of Pennsylvania. We thank you for your personal contributions, your continued leadership, and we hope sometime you'll come back and give us an update on some of the great things that are happening at Westchester University. Thank you again for being with us, Greg Weisenstein.
Coming up next, explore more opportunities offered at the universities in Pennsylvania's state system of higher education.
What is a warrior? At East Stroudsburg University, it's someone who rises above the rest. A warrior is knowledgeable, a critical thinker, a planner, a designer, an engineer, an artist, a writer, and a leader. A warrior is someone who is strong, adventurous, and engaged in their surroundings. You could be a warrior. Join us at East Stroudsburg University and get an outstanding, affordable, accessible education coupled with real-world experiences such as internships, clinical assignments, community service, and student teaching. There's also ESU's Innovation Center, which offers students entrepreneurial opportunities that extend well beyond ESU's campus into the regional, national, and global markets. Why wait? Check out ESU's nearly 60 undergraduate programs and more than 20 graduate degree programs, and learn why being a warrior is so much more than you'd ever imagine. Call us today to set up an appointment with an admissions counselor or to take a tour. Make East Stroudsburg University your first choice and catch the warrior spirit today.
Welcome back to Infinite Opportunities. Next, we go to Westchester University to learn more about the expanded opportunities available at their new Center City, Philadelphia location.
Right now, we're in the middle of developing our program in the Center City campus, satellite campus in Philadelphia, so we're very excited about that.
We have a great program, a good undergraduate social work program. We've been accredited since 1973. We have a good reputation in the region. It's a quality education at an affordable price, and this is an opportunity to provide that undergraduate social work education to students who would traditionally not be able to come to Westchester to complete their degree.
Presently, we offer two programs at Center City. We offer the post-baccalaureate certification in special education, and we offer the master's degree in special education. We get the same quality program in the city that you get here at Westchester University.
What's different about the Westchester MSW program is that it focuses on the recovery model, resiliency, and capacity building. So all of our courses are built around that theme, and we're really designed to prepare students to graduate with cutting-edge skills in social work. And we're finding that our students are getting jobs in all sorts of different settings, everywhere from hospitals to schools, mental health settings, working with veterans, older adults, kids. It's definitely a growing profession.
I chose Westchester and Philadelphia, one, because I live in Philadelphia. So the state school selection here in Philadelphia was not exactly robust, and the cost of going to another university here in Philadelphia was extremely expensive. As soon as I heard about this program, the location being really close to work, and then also the tuition being much cheaper than some of the other schools, those were the two things that really led me to look more into the program.
It's interesting, I was looking at different programs around Philadelphia and in some of the surrounding counties, and the recruiter for Penn State told me that I should actually look at Westchester because they have such a high quality program and it's a great value.
Oh, it's great. I mean, They reached out to me to enter this program. It was a program that I was interested in, didn't think I had the necessary requirements since I had not gone to main campus already. And they've been very accommodating in terms of schedule-wise. Very good. They understand that most of us are working students. We're coming here straight from work. They have been making things happen in terms of making sure the tuition is down, anything we need. Now I do visit North Campus or main campus occasionally, and you have access to all of the facilities there. So you really do get the college experience for a working student. It's a pretty good deal.
I think the best thing that I liked was now here at this program, I thought it was going to be a little different than what the main campus with, oh, maybe the computers won't be as great, or maybe the classroom won't be as great. But to me, it seems a little better than the Westchester's campus, so I think I got the best from my buck.
The faculty is great here. I mean, most of the professors have great experience within the field. My criminal law teacher has been practicing for 22 years, and she's at the federal level. She works for the DA office, and she's a prosecutor, which is great. And another convenient thing about this location is that the classroom sizes are smaller, so it's more hands-on. The professor gets to know you instead of a large class.
It's great and very impressive. I've learned a lot. Since I came to Westchester, I've learned a lot, I've gained a lot. It's excellent. There is a free flow of communication. In terms of structure, management, you name it, everything is perfect.
I found the courses to be very enlightening and very relevant to what's going on in society today. It's nice even at my age where you can say a course has changed your life, something has changed your life, and I have to say that I have been profoundly impacted by this course.
Coming up next, explore more opportunities offered at the universities in Pennsylvania's state system of higher education.
I fell in love with the campus, with the people, with my IUP life. See it for yourself. Visit us. Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Find your success.
Welcome back to Infinite Opportunities. Next, we go to Clarion University to learn more about how students are integrating into the local community, living in their new Suites on Main.
Well, we chose the location for what has now been called Suites on Main, which is East Main Street on the campus of Clarion University. This was chosen at the request of the president of the university, whose vision for this new property would be to bring campus to Clarion and Clarion to campus, to get a real community feel for the students living there and to allow the community to have a part of campus right on Main Street. The north side building will open first. It is the building next to Steele Hall, which houses our business college. That building was slated to open in August of this year, 2015, for occupancy for the fall semester. The second building, which is on the south side of Main Street, next to Carrier Administration Building and next to the former, or what will be the former, Wilkinson and Nair Halls, is slated to open for spring semester 2016 and subsequently will open in January for occupancy for that semester. No more than 2 people will share a suite. No more than 2 people will share a bathroom, including the shower and the other amenities that go with the property. Both properties or both buildings will be fully sprinkled and monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's kind of a standard for anything that we would do and certainly that is welcomed on campus. So from a safety standpoint of that of fire or other hazards, that is just a standard in everything we build. The second part of security will go to the locking mechanisms and security systems that will go with the property. Each elevator and each floor and each room, and then the rooms within the rooms, will all be keyed or card accessed based on the level of security you have, either as a visitor or as a resident.
Hey, have you heard the bookstore is moving to the new Suites on Main, where you can get all your Clarion apparel and textbooks, and our Starbucks is moving down there as well.
Yeah, I also heard that they're putting in a Denny's Den.
Wow, that'll be another great eating option here on campus.
Yeah, along with those options, they're also putting in a movie theater. Did you know that?
I think they're gonna have comedians and second run movies there and all that kind of stuff.
Sounds like great entertainment.
It does. In the new Suites on Main, there's common areas on every floor. It's fully furnished and there's large TVs.
Sounds like a great place to do homework, socialize, and do group work.
And there's Wi-Fi throughout the whole building, so it's very helpful.
Coming up next, explore more opportunities offered at the universities in Pennsylvania's state system of higher education.
I'm a 3-time legacy. Everyone in my family loves KU. But going into this, I wasn't sure if I just wanted to follow in their footsteps. But then I took the tour, and oh my gosh, the campus was awesome. Everyone was so much more helpful and friendly than the other places I had visited. The facilities were great. I knew instantly it was my choice, my first choice.
Choose Kutztown University.
My parents always said that a bridge is only useful if it can be crossed.
At Edinboro, I found a university that connects who I am to who I want to be.
A school that's affordable, with excellent professors and nationally recognized undergraduate and graduate programs who give personal attention to my success. Edinboro's also a place with great traditions and big-time school spirit.
Edinboro University. It's the bridge to your destination. Choose excellence. Choose Edinboro. Apply online at edinboro.edu.
Welcome back to Infinite Opportunities. Next, we go to Millersville University to learn how the Summer Institutes help educators and administrators gain valuable new strategies and techniques to take back to their school districts.
I'm Jamie Hostetler. I'm a school psychologist with the Cornwall-Lebanon School District. I'm here at Millersville University attending the Summer Institute on Autism. Autism is such an important issue that's impacting schools across our country. We have students being identified at a rate of about 1 in 64. So students are in regular education settings, they're in more intensive settings, and being exposed to so many different things and so many different people. So it's impacting so many of us in education today. We are really learning to look at a student's behavior and how that affects their learning and what it means for the academic gains that they can make. So we're taking a look at the instruction, the time they get in instruction and meaningful instruction, and the difference we can make for that child. I'm going to be able to take so much back to my district just to simply look at the behaviors. The in-depth discussion on applied behavioral analysis has been amazing. The significant concepts that we're able to cover in this short amount of time and truly grasp is impressive. The instructors are phenomenal. I'm going to be able to write better behavior plans, help my teachers more effectively, and generally help the students on the autism spectrum, which is the most important thing. This week has relit my energy in education. I'm ready to go back. I'm feeling good about it and feeling good about what I can bring to my teachers and what I can bring to my students. It's going to be exciting going into the next school year. When I go back to school, I'm telling all of my colleagues, school psychologists, regular education teachers, special education teachers, I know this is an institute on autism, but these are good teaching skills that can generalize to anyone.
My name is Brian Ciccarino. I'm a 5th grade teacher at Ephrata Intermediate School, and I am taking leadership in the 21st century here at Millersville University. I think being able to hear from a variety of different speakers at a local and national level was really beneficial. We had everybody from speakers who have written books, who have spoken nationally. We've had teachers from local districts, from anywhere from 3rd grade to high school classrooms. So being able to hear different perspectives as well as our facilitator was a big benefit. The 2 things I'm going to take away from this are, number 1, the tools. We learned so many different technology tools that really lend themselves well to the classroom. The other thing I'm going to take away is the ideas, which is how to use those tools. So for example, we had a speaker on gamification, and he not only showed us different tools to use for that, but also how to use them and how to turn the classroom into a more interactive and dynamic environment. It was really beneficial to have so many like-minded peers in class, because we were able to not only learn from the speakers, but also learn from each other as well. Our facilitator gave us the opportunity to work together in small groups, and working with teachers of a similar background really kind of helped us to kind of see things from new perspectives. So learning from each other as much as learning from our facilitator, as much as learning from the speakers, really kind of gave this institute a really nice touch.
Hi, my name is Alicia Williams. I'm a school nurse for the Twin Valley School District, and I attended the Disability Leadership Institute here at Millersville. We had psychologists, social workers, school nurses, and teachers. Was fantastic, especially when we had to do group work. And not everybody enjoys group work per se. And I don't know as though I've always been a fan of that, but it was a really great opportunity for me to see things from a different perspective. I do work with the teachers, the administrators, the counselors all the time, but we're working a little differently because we each have our own piece that we have to add. In this, it kind of put me into a completely different aspect of the education system that I'm not always having to work in. We do our best, and we give our best to every student, and that every student should be given the same opportunities and in the same fashion as we can possibly create and produce for them. That I am working with them, that I am interacting with them as a whole, that I'm learning what their home life is like, what's going on with them at school, and then of course, if they have a medical component, what is going on with them medically, and looking at them as that person, who they are, what they want to be, what they love to do, and connecting with them and finding some connection with them so that they trust me.
Come back next week to learn more of the infinite opportunities at the state system's 14 universities, or visit us online